It's that time, Ball State football fans. The season is right around the corner. It's time to rise up as the Ball State Cardinals take on the Eastern Michigan Eagles in the Battle of the Birds, the home opener Thursday at the Shoe. Third Down Chirp with all of your preview, and it's coming right now. Hey everyone, and welcome into Season 2 of Third Down Chirp as we are preparing for the 2012 Ball State football season. I'm your host, Chris Renkel, and joining me today and all this season, Pat Boylan, Timmy, Fogarty. Guys, it's been a really long off season. I know we're all excited. We're back at Schumann Stadium. We're talking a little Ball State football. It's a good day.
It always seems like that college football offseason is the longest out of all of them, but we catch a little bit of a break. We get to start on Thursday instead of Saturday. Definitely ready to go, though.
Well, in the whole summer, you get all that. You're just sitting around doing nothing, no classes or anything. Finally, it's here. Getting kicked off Thursday, guys. I can't wait.
And speaking of the summer there, Timmy, while most of us were off vacationing and having fun in the sun, the football team, they were hard at work here in Muncie. It's an off season. They don't get much off time. Dave Feely working the guys hard here in Muncie under their strength and conditioning program. Paul Murder and I were given all access to show you just what the players go through during the summer months.
Balls to the feet.
It's 6 in the morning, and as the first rays of sunlight creep over Schumann Stadium, the football team is already hard at work. Games are won during the season, but wins are earned in the summer.
1, 2, 3, ready.
Lean, lift and finish. Let's jump, guys.
Yeah. Elbows up. Pull harder than you ever have, Tony.
Well, Coach Lembo's first priority was to transition from what they call a high-intensity workout to an Olympic-based workout, basically doing cleans, doing squats, doing snatches. So that was the first basically thing on our agenda to get these guys to do, is teach them how to do that. And there's a whole lot of teaching that goes on with that. It's not just, hey, this is what we're going to do and let's fly. It was really weird because last winter there was a lot of teaching. It really, really was. The summer, there was a lot of teaching going on with more of the Olympic lifting. We slow cooked them just a little bit, teaching them how to squat and teaching them how to bench heavy and other things. And then the summer, like I just said, it was a little heavier with the Olympic lifting, more teaching with that. And then we were asking them, hey, this is how much we're going to run. So it was kind of a shock wave going on from February 1st when I got hired all the way up until the first game. Well, for the first half of the summer, we went 4 days a week, and it was, summer's pretty much voluntary, and we got a lot of guys that are pretty much here. So, you can't argue, you can't be mad at anything at all. They want to be here. We've got a lot of guys throwing around weight and running. We basically run and lift some way, shape, or form. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Wednesday is our voluntary yoga day. And then the second half of the summer, we will lift Monday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then have team runs on Tuesdays and Fridays. But in the first half of the summer, sure as God made apples, we're going to condition out to the lift.
Knees up, knees up, knees up.
Freshmen, they're always in shock no matter where you are, whatever in the country. They always think they lift hard. They don't. They always think they run hard. They don't. There's nothing like the team atmosphere. And, our upperclassmen, and we've talked to them, and they know it's a big priority to make sure that those guys feel really comfortable when they get in here. Because it's hard enough not knowing anybody, but then, then to go work out and work out hard. They're going to need a lot of support. I think our older guys, they remember what it was like when they were freshmen. So, the freshmen, they ran their 16-110 test the first day. They were in a bit of shock, but, it's the first day, and they knew what to expect. We told them what to expect, and, they had great attitudes about it.
And the workouts do more than just make players stronger. The energy and intensity and spending countless hours together bring the team together.
Through the floor, Tony. Yeah. Finish your pull, Tony.
That's one of the priorities that we really installed in them throughout the entire year. You know, you're always going to find somebody stronger across America, but if you can learn to fight for your teammate and have him fight for you, the entire lift, the entire run, make sure that you have each other's back, it's going to be a big reason you have success during the year. I fully believe it. As a guy like Travis Freeman, you know, he comes in and he squats 500 pounds last year. He just squatted 550, and I think he almost crushed his calves with his hamstrings doing it. I mean, that's the reason why he was all MAC last year. He was durable throughout the entire year.
It's a big deal to be here in the summer working out. If you've been here all summer and if you've done the training and things like that, you tend to, I mean, it's a different type of shape from running sprints and coming out to the football field and things like that, but you get yourself prepared for that type of mental workout. And you did the conditioning test and you've ran and you've pushed your body to that limit where you felt like it needs to be pushed. It tends to be a lighter load when you come out here in some shape from working all summer.
Kid O'Brien was very durable the entire year. I think there was a game he played, there was 100 snaps that he went through, including special teams. These guys, they understand that you need to put a lot of armor on that body. You know, it takes a lot of work, and they want to be durable, and they want to, you know, their body is their lifeline, and they know the healthier they are and the stronger they are, the longer they're going to last.
When the Cardinals take the field this season, they hope all the work they put in under the hot summer sun will pay off by being bigger, stronger, and faster, and overall in better shape than the other guys. For Ball State Sports Link, I'm Chris Renkel.
And guys, last year at the IU game, we really saw the strength and conditioning that these guys went through really made a difference in the third and fourth quarter. A big reason Ball State won that game the way they did. And a second season, you got to think that you're going to see a similar progression from this team.
Well, Chris, you watch that story, and it really sticks out the intensity of the workouts that those guys are going through. And you talked about it. It really, you can see why it's building the team unity. They kind of all join together as they do some of those big lifts. That's great to see. And really, you just look at some of these guys. You look at Travis Freeman. When he came in as a freshman and where he is now, it's completely night and day. The whole team as a whole really just seems more prepared for situations, and you really saw that late in games too. Ball State won a lot of close games last year. Have to put a lot of that on strength and conditioning, I think.
Yeah, and another thing, you know, with strength and conditioning, and you saw those guys, you know, cheering each other on and the camaraderie and stuff like that. Coach Limbo's really touched on, you know, having his guys stay here over the summer, getting them internships, having them have classes. So they're around each other all the time, 24/7, you know, that whole entire summer. So they get to know each other. Keith gets to throw to his receivers, you know, whenever they want. They can go out and they can throw the football around, get used to their timing and stuff. And that's a very underrated thing that really a lot of people don't really recognize.
And that's something, Timmy, you have a lot of experience in, being a former college and high school quarterback. And speaking of Keith Wenning, as we move into game week, Wenning and the offense going to have a tough task taking on the number 3 ranked MAC defense last year in Eastern Michigan. We caught up with Keith after practice this week to ask him about the big game.
I see a lot better connection, you know, for me personally with the receivers, with the running backs, the linemen, you know, all of us being on the same page. I'm confident in all of them. You know, they're a lot of fast, twitchy guys, so, you know, just get them the ball and let them do what they do. I speak for the team when I say everybody's ready to go. It's been a long camp, and, you know, we're just excited and ready to play.
And guys, you look at this offense, not a whole lot of turnover from last year until this year. You lose 2 veteran receivers in Briggs Orsbon and Toriel Gibson, but other than that, Pat, it looks like everyone's back.
And what's the key almost always to winning in the MAC? It's experience and quality at quarterback, and I think Ball State, they had it last year, but they really have it this year. This will be almost Wenning's 3rd full season of starting at quarterback. And you look at some of the teams last year that were successful in the MAC, Ohio, Toledo, Northern Illinois, some of the best quarterbacks. That's not a surprise. And I definitely think Wenning's in that mix now, but you also look at the offensive line. Those guys are very experienced. They have a lot of options now at running back. The offense, I think, should be clicking from day one.
Yeah, and the offensive line's a huge thing for the quarterbacks just to give them time and everything. And, you know, it's time for Keith to make that jump. It's his junior season. You talk to any college coach across the country, that jump for college quarterbacks is from their sophomore to junior year. That's when they need to get better. If they're looking to go to the next level, that's the biggest thing. Things to help him with that, he's got almost all of his receivers back. Like you said, losing Orsbon and Gibson. Other than that, all his guys have experience. So he's got key players on the O-line, key players at receiver, key running backs. Guys, this could be an electrifying offense this season.
All the pieces are there, Timmy, as you said it right there. You got veteran guys across the board. I know that's something that Pete Lembo really enjoys having, especially on the offense. Now we switch over to the other side of the ball with the defense. And while the offense really progressed at many times during the season, the defense kind of struggled a lot throughout this season, and it's a team that Jay Baton, the defensive coordinator, and Coach Lembo, of course, are really looking for them to improve if the Cardinals want to have a successful season. We caught up with team defensive captain Travis Freeman after practice.
Just it's time for all that hard work you put in through the off season, all that running, all that lifting, all that power, all that strength that you've obtained during the off season. It's time to show it off now. We always get this analogy about being a superhero. It's time to show what powers you gain all this off season. We have more guys ready to play. And I think that's the biggest thing when you talk about guys being ready up front. When you talk about the defensive line, we have a lot more depth with guys rotating in. You can never have too many defensive linemen, and I think that's going to be a major factor. We want to minus those things that create big plays when you talk about missing tackles and wrapping up and having proper leverage on the football, and I think that's what will stop all the big plays.
And guys, for the first time in 5 years, there's no number 25 in the defensive backfield. Sean Baker took his talents down to Tampa Bay with the Buccaneers, and that leaves a huge hole on this Ball State defense.
And we'd be remiss to talk about the changes on defense without first starting with number 25. That is a big, big loss. A position that'll be really interested to watch more than any other on this Ball State team this year is the defensive line. Now, from the outside, someone might say they lost 3 of their 4 starters on a unit that was kind of shaky last year. But when you look at who they're bringing in, Notre Dame transfer Brandon Newman, Ohio State transfer won't play until game 3, but Jonathan Newsom there, as well as Miles will be in his second year, so he's got some experience. Nathan Ollie, Donovan Jarrett. I think this is going to be a much improved lineup, and they're going to be able to get at the quarterback. That's most important without needing the help of some linebackers.
Well, and one thing that's really huge that we saw, every time we're out here at practice that we see is they're excited. This is an exciting defense to watch. Travis Freeman, he's got these guys pumped up. I mean, he's a motivator, the way he talks, the way he says stuff. He could just say, hey, what's up, and you just get all jacked up and you're ready to go. That's just the type of player and guy that he is. Now, losing a guy like Baker is huge, not just physically, but mentally. It's a player in the secondary who's seen it all. He's seen great players. He's seen, great offenses all around. So losing a player like that hurts, but I wouldn't be surprised if this defense comes out, kind of with a chip on their shoulder. They struggled a little bit, but like I said, Travis Freeman's got them riled up. They should do some pretty big things this year.
Absolutely, Timmy, and it looks like 2 guys, Chris Paulding and Brian Jones, to take Baker's spot and Howard's spot for that matter. Those are 2 guys Pete Lembo, I know, is very excited to see what they can do now that they're starters. And while we look for the defense to progress a lot, back on the offensive side, one guy Ball State really needs to progress and lead them to the promised land, quarterback Keith Wenning. We take a look back at last year's feature done by Josh Blessing and Joel Bragg about Keith Wenning.
In just 2 seasons, Keith Wenning is on pace to be one of the top quarterbacks in Ball State history. His journey to Muncie goes straight through the heart of Coldwater, Ohio, a town known to many for one thing: high school football. This is Cavalier country.
For Coldwater football is almost everything. Everybody, every Friday night, the whole town seems to be out at the stadium watching the game. So, Fridays are huge during football season in Coldwater, so it's great to have that community where everybody follows the football team.
Coldwater attributes its success to Coach John Reed, who in 15 seasons led the Cavaliers to 14 playoff appearances and 2 state titles. After being a backup, Wenning finally started at quarterback his senior season. He wasted no time rewriting the Coldwater record books.
We had a great amount of success, and we also had some downfalls there. I learned a lot there. Starting from junior high football to high school football. I'm happy to have the coaches that were in my football career there.
He is an all-around athlete, and I think John Reed just kind of maybe formed it a little bit, and Keith had great success here.
He's the best coach I've ever had. He taught me more about life than he did about football. The main thing he taught me and my other teammates in high school is don't take anything for granted. You never know when something's not going to be there. You never know when you're not going to be able to play football or something more serious.
December 2009. Less than a week after the Cavaliers finished their regular season, tragedy hits. The face of Coldwater football is diagnosed with esophageal cancer.
We had a real close relationship, and it was hard. I would just go over there and talk to him to his house and stuff, and he'd always say he was all right and stuff like that, but I knew better than that.
But like he did his entire life, Reed put his team first and chose to hold off chemotherapy until after the season. Coldwater would go on to the state final that year, losing in what would be Coach Reed's final game on the sidelines.
May 7th, it was tough, and I'm just looking back on the memories and stuff now, and I'm just thankful for them all.
Coach Reed's lasting impact has transferred from Coldwater to Ball State, and although he's not on the sidelines, he'll always be by Winning's side, every day, every game, and every snap.
He's with me every game. I wear this on my wrist every day since he passed away. I've had this on my wrist, and there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about him or look up to him and wish he could still be here. So during the games, I'll just look down at this and know that he's with me, and he's gonna help me out any way he can.
For Ball State Sports Link, I'm Josh Blessing.
And now, guys, let's take a look at that 2012 schedule for the Ball State Cardinals. And Pat, it doesn't get easy with Eastern Michigan right off the bat, a Mid-American Conference game against a tough Eagles team. But what is a couple of games that you're looking at as could be really key games during the season?
Honestly, if you ask me the most important game out of these 12, I'm pointing at number 1. And it's not for coaches speak because it's the one ahead. It's literally because I think this game could set the tone for the entire season. Eastern Michigan, some people are calling it a toss-up game. The last 2 years have been as close as could be. This one, I think, could be the same way. You lose that game at home, you face 3 straight BCS teams in Clemson, Indiana, and South Florida. You lose that opening game, and you really set yourself up in a tough situation with 3 very tough games coming up after that.
Oh, Pat, I agree with you 100%. That is an extremely tough game right off the bat, and it's almost a must-win, for Ball State to get these fans excited. It'll probably be one of the most crowded games all season, but the game that I'm circling on my calendar is Family Weekend, September 22nd against USF, South Florida. They're coming all the way up here to Muncie. If the Cardinals can pull out this win at Family Weekend, there's going to be a lot of people here. That'll get people excited. If you win games, people are going to come, and if you can win that big game right there during Family Weekend, people are going to start showing up. This place is going to be crowded, and Schumann Stadium is going to be rocking, guys.
Now, I got to look at the homecoming game against Western Michigan. This is a Western Michigan team that's beaten Ball State the past 2 years. 2 years ago, it was on homecoming, actually. And I think by that point, October 13th, you're about halfway through the schedule. You're going to know if you're a contender in the Mid-American Conference or not. That's going to be a big tell of where this season is going and where it's been, really. All right, guys, now let's take a closer look at that first game on the schedule. As the coaches say, it's the next one in line. This is it. Eastern Michigan home opener, Schumann Stadium. Pat, the Eagles last year almost beat Ball State at home, but Steven Schott coming through at the last second. What do you see heading into this game?
It's tough to pinpoint just one key to this game for Ball State, but if there is one, it's absolutely stopping Alex Gillette, and it's not stopping him through the air, it's stopping him on the ground. Alex Gillette is a terrific runner. He led his team in running last year and a rushing team that was very good. They've got 2 other good backs, Javonte Green, Dominic Shearer, but you have to stop Alex Gillette. That's where it starts, and they didn't always do that. They did it enough to get the win last year at Eastern Michigan, but they didn't always do that. Alex Gillette also has little to no experience in the wide receiving core. His top receiver, Nick Olds, will not play. You have to make Alex Gillette beat you through the air. If he beats you through the air, I think you tip your cap, but you cannot let him beat you on the ground.
I absolutely 100% agree with you. Stopping Gillette is key. Also, Ball State really needs to dominate the time of possession. Last time they played Eastern Michigan, the Eagles had it for almost 40 minutes throughout the game. You cannot win ball games if a team's going to hold on to it for that long. So Ball State really needs to control time of possession, whether that's, finding simple routes to hit, hitting a couple guys here and there, running the football, whatever they got to do. Just keeping Eastern's offense off the field, I think, is a big key. And like I said, Ball State's offense could be electrifying this season. So if they could put up some quick points early, it's going to be tough for a dominant running team to come back right away.
And Timmy, that's another thing Ball State has to do, create a lot of big plays. That's something they struggled with last season, but a big reason why they actually beat Eastern Michigan in Ypsilanti last year. All right, that's going to wrap up our first episode of Third Down Chirp for the 2012 season. Starting next week, you can tweet at us at Third Down Chirp or hashtag TweetPeak. You pick a question, we answer it on air, you get a free Papa John's pizza. It's easy as that. And you can catch us all this season on Fox College Sports, WIPB in Muncie, and on Comcast Indiana. For Pat Boylan and Timmy Fogarty, I'm Chris Renkel. We'll see you next week, and go Cardinals.